4 times a day and 3 times a night, the pirates fight the British Navy. The pirates always win. The men who take your money always win. They fix it so you give it to them. And that's Las Vegas. It all started with the mob, who came here when there was nothing but the bare desert. In fact, it all started with one mobster, Bugsy Siegel. After an initial career of robbing people, he had a brilliant notion: create the right surroundings, and people will rob themselves. When I was last here 10 years ago, Las Vegas was full of big hotels. Now the big hotels are being crowded out by huge hotels like Treasure Island. Aiming to pull in the whole family, the huge hotels are theme parks, and the theme of Treasure Island is pirates. They make a lot of noise, so when I checked in after sunset, I had a big urge to see what else was new in town. It was a long walk to get out of Treasure Island's lobby because it was a casino, just like every other Las Vegas casino I'd ever seen, only bigger. Most of the guests will never even reach the street. Lying in wait is an infinity of chances to make sudden money, and you just might. Common sense tells you that the house wins in the long run, or how else would the Vegas casinos pull in $12 million a day every day of the week? But what about that woman who put $3 into a slot machine and got $9 million out? On my last trip, I lost everything except my shirt, but surrounded by these thousands of slots, I could already feel the old urge. So I walked down the strip to the old Stardust, where they've got a new wrinkle that caters for people like me who can't resist taking a punt, but still want to fly home instead of walking. As far as I could tell, the idea of the slot tournament is that you pay to play, and that's all you can lose. The machines don't pay out, they just clock up your score. The biggest score takes the combined stakes of everybody playing. That's all you can win, but it's more fun than just sitting there alone.
43, get on the ball. You're in wagon. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah.
We could tell we were having fun by the noise we all made.
Yeah, they are, but they're on the wrong line.
Helping to whip up the excitement were supporters clubs who had come to cheer on their champions, and a female commentator who knew all the finer points of this deceptively easy-looking sport. There's far more skill involved than might appear. You have to move your finger up and down real fast. And remember to breathe between yells of triumph and groans of disappointment. It takes hand-eye coordination and the mental discipline to go on doing something almost entirely meaningless long after a child would have given up. But I loved it. The community spirit was heartwarming. Though most of us lost our entry fee, we all swore to stay in touch with each other for the rest of our lives. Safe gambling, like safe sex, may not be quite the full thrill, but it's a nice way of meeting people. I might have stayed there forever if I hadn't had a date. Somewhere inside a car the size of a submarine, it was Engelbert Humperdinck.
Give me a lift. Okay.
Wow, what a layout. Engelbert has been here since he and Elvis Presley locked sideburns in friendship.
Elvis was a very down-to-earth person, a very, very basic style of person. You know, he'd come into the room. The only thing that he was about Elvis was he was flamboyant. When he walked into the room, he had a velvet cloak on. He had a velvet jacket to match the cloak. You know, and when I introduced him in the room, he'd stand up on the seat and open up his cloak. You know, and the audience went absolutely berserk. And he came backstage. When he came backstage, and I said, Elvis, he said, you didn't have to be so demonstrative. He says, Engelbert, that's the only way I am. He said, you know, and he says, feel this jacket. He says, real velvet, real velvet. Everything is, you know, simple things amused me.
Did you have any contact with the mob in those days?
When I first came here, you know, they were very, very nice, and very nice to me. They like show people, you know, and they especially like singers because they all love to sing, you know. And whenever they came over to your show, anything like that, they'd want to sing with you, and they'd sing in the crowd. You can see them out there singing. And when Vegas was run by those people, They treated us with tremendous respect. Gave the artists whatever they wanted, you know.
So you never saw the downside? You never saw them get heavy?
No, I never did. I always thought they were absolutely sensational towards me.
Did you ever actually live here?
I had a home here until 3 years ago, and I had it for about 16 years, in fact, you know. It was 1/8 of a mile long. Incredible. Right on the desert end.
Is that why you sold it? You got sick of walking in the corridors?
No, actually that was a very famous home, because when I wasn't staying in it, when I didn't come into town and stay in it, I used to lease it out to people like Shirley MacLaine and Barry Manilow and all kinds of, Dean Martin stayed there. Everyone stayed. A lot of people slept in my bed. A lot of people when I wasn't there.
Do the women still throw their underwear at you?
Well, occasionally. It used to be far more. You know, in the years gone by, they would throw, you know, take them. I could see them take them off and throw them on stage, and sometimes they'd take their bra and panties together, you know. But I used to think throwing the panties on stage was such a waste. It was a terrible waste, because none of them fit me. But so I sent them to Tom Jones. I think I fit them better than they fit me.
He wears them beautifully. But Vegas is mainly gambling. Do you gamble?
I do not gamble. I do not. I've been coming to Vegas, as I said, from 1968, and I haven't put $1 on the table. I work too hard for my money. I don't know. How do you think all this place was built? You know, not from people like me.
Engelbert was saying that if I wanted a car like his, I should hold on to my money. Next morning revealed what they build with it when you don't. Bigger and better places for taking it in when you hand it over. On a mission to check out the new hotels, I took the authentic tram experience to the next emporium down the strip, the Mirage. It was a nice ride through the palm fronds, every palm expensively sucking up the city's second most precious source of liquidity, water. As glass was to the ancient Romans, water is to the Las Vegans, a sign of surplus wealth. Las Vegas sends a message to the world. We've got water to burn. As big as Treasure Island and the Mirage put together is the MGM Grand. Lost inside its vastness is an amusement park the size of a casino, designed to keep the kids quiet while their parents gamble in a casino the size of a film studio. Another recently erected whopper is the Excalibur, with rest rooms for squires and damsels, waiters in tights and waitresses in wimples, and ye lobby crammed with ye multitude of slot machines, forsooth. There were so many new hotels it was hard to find the old ones. Some of them were actually in the process of disappearing as I arrived. The Sands used to be a hot spot for the top entertainers. Frank Sinatra once had his credit rating questioned, and he responded by crashing his car into the reception area. Now the place was earmarked for a more comprehensive demolition, presumably to make room for the Sands too, with a 10 times a day hologram lobby show of Frank Sinatra crashing his car into the reception area. The newest hotel, New York, New York, was almost ready to open. It cost $460 million and is expected to get all of that back in next to no time. If the real New York had finances that sound, it would have enough money to clear the streets of muggers. In the New York, New York, New York, there won't be any muggers, because the guests will empty their wallets without even being asked. Market research doesn't make many mistakes in Las Vegas, but the Stratosphere is a new hotel that hasn't quite clicked. The reason? It's less attractive to gamblers than it is to tourists, who swarm up to the stratospheric roof to see what you have to climb higher all the time to see it all, the edge of town. But the roof isn't the end of the Stratosphere. The spike on top is rigged with a ride called the Big Shot, a vertical takeoff experience whose opening day catapulted the journalists skyward at such speed that their lunch went into orbit. But I was assured that the contraption had been toned down so that the Japanese tourists wouldn't think they were being suddenly sent home. I locked myself into position with only mild trepidation. My head fitted neatly into my stomach, and I could tell what I had for breakfast because I was looking through it. Luckily, there was a cool-down phase for the internal organs to rearrange themselves in some semblance of their original order. I re-swallowed my granola and tried to look as if my groans of fear had been gurgles of delight. It was important not to dishonor myself in front of the young Japanese ladies. Even losing your shirt at the tables had to feel better than that. But can you win? You can if you cheat. In the Stratosphere's rooftop restaurant, I met one ex-cheat who continues to win even playing straight because he can memorize a whole pack of cards at a glance. Professional gambler Max Rubin.
So how big do you bet?
As much as they'll let me. My biggest bets have typically been 3 hands of $5,000 betting. Anything more than that and you really get a lot of attention, but the 3 hands of 5, they notice who you are. And my biggest win by betting that much, I won $90,000 in about 30 minutes at one point. And that's one of the few places I've been barred from. They don't like that when you win it that quickly. But
Are you considered to be a high roller?
yes. I'm not what's called a whale, the people that bet $100,000, $200,000 a hand, but anybody that bets $500 a hand or more is considered a high roller, and you're given the best treatment with the suites and the limousines, and they pay for your airfares, and they take care of you, do all that, sure.
So what about the whales? What do they give the whales?
They give the whales chartered 747s from the Orient. They'll put literally $5 to $10 million in the cage, and they put them up in suites that, for example, at the Las Vegas Hilton, they have $15 million suites that they put these people in. And the entire suites are granite, marble, 7 bathrooms, 8 fireplaces, this sort of thing. They have hot and cold running, everything they want, the Rolls Royces, their own private chefs, their own kitchens, this sort of thing. And they treat them like they're royalty, which in Las Vegas they are.
So much is given to these guys, that must mean they're going to lose.
That means they're expected to lose. The house doesn't give you things just because you've lost. They give you things because they have the expectation you're going to lose. I mean, someone can come in like a Kerry Packer and win $5 or $10 million, and he still gets the same as if he had come in and lost $5 or $10 million.
I've heard that there are some perfectly ordinary people who can win really big.
There was a gentleman who's on welfare on the dole, and he had a Social Security check, came into the Treasure Island at one point and cashed it for several $100s. At the end of the first day, he had about $30,000 to $40,000 he'd run it into. For the smoke clear, this guy was up $1,300,000. Now, the guy had no teeth. He had dirty clothes. He was walking around with no shoes on. He was up in his room, and he was a drunk, stumble-bum drunk. Never tipped a penny to anybody. He cut his feet up in the room on a glass that he had dropped while he was drunk, walked down in the sports book. They saw this, they drug him, they took him down to the doctor themselves, had his foot sewed up, then they took him over to a haberdasher, got some clothes put on him, cleaned him up, made him take a bath. They assigned a private detective to this guy, and he followed him around all the time, making sure they kept him on property. And he kept gambling, and he took his $1.3 million and ran it into $30,000, which is all he had left. And the last they saw him, he was on a bus going down to Binion's Horseshoe, where he was going to try to turn it into another $1 million, and no one knows what happened to him from that point.
Max's message, don't stay too long. But they make it hard not to. Even for a low roller like me, when night falls, Vegas turns lavish. At night, you can't see it growing. You can only see it glowing. It's a fast food feast for the eyes. The neon shines like candy moonlight, and there are more light bulbs than in the whole of China. This is the Vegas we've always liked the look of because we've heard all the stories about the squalor behind the glitter, the mob, the cynicism, and the sleaze. You can still order a call girl along with room service, but the mobsters are just a memory. Names once dreaded are now part of the decor. Family values have taken over, so it pays off to make the place look more and more like a fun fair. Inside the casinos, however, there is no night. It might give the punters pumping their money into the slots the dangerous idea that it was time to call it a day. The slots make a loud noise when they pay out and a quiet noise when they take in. The cacophony of payouts sounds like the public's ahead, but it sounds like that so you'll want to join in. The house has got the psychology of gambling all figured out, right down to the odors fed into the air conditioning system. Old people, for instance, gamble more if they smell baby powder. Maybe the baby powder got to me, because suddenly I found myself heading downtown to Binion's. for just one little flutter at the colossus of casinos. Benny Binion arrived in Vegas at the same time as Bugsy Siegel, and the joint named after him is still the place where the lifetime gamblers come to grow old and die. Grafted to the furniture, the Binion sisters aren't really relatives of the founder. You ladies look as if you know what you're doing. You don't mind if I join you?
No, not a bit.
They're called the Binion sisters because they live here rent-free, playing blackjack forever.
What? $1,000?
Yeah.
How much are the chips?
$100.
$100 is all I've budgeted for. What do I get for that?
Their frenzy of enthusiasm was catching. It would have been churlish of me not to ante up 100. Whatever system the Binion sisters have been following for the last 1,000 years that had kept them alive, I figured that if I followed their lead, at least I wouldn't lose.
Pretty please.
17.
Oh, you
17.
can't do that. You gotta hit.
What's the number? 075?
I won.
You won.
I got one.
You won.
They were obviously impressed.
So I might double up.
Good luck.
You got any golden rules for playing this game?
Never color your hair and always split aces.
Always split aces, huh?
20.
I lost it. I got a feeling that may be the pattern of the day. So how much do you win in a day?
You never know. We've won 10,000 and we've lost 15, and you never know. We don't keep up.
If you add it all up, are you ahead or are you behind?
I don't know.
You don't know?
We still got money in the box. Money in the bank.
So you just enjoy playing it, huh?
Cattle on the range.
They look like sweet old ladies, but my small talk bounced off them like dried beans off boilerplate. They were concentrating on their $500 bets.
Oh, rats.
Let's count. One more. One more.
You're supposed to scratch with your card.
You scratch with your card, huh? For another one.
I had lost my whole 100 in nothing flat, and the Binion sisters' hospitable attitude underwent a subtle change.
Okay, it does happen. Bye-bye.
It was the brush-off.
Do I stick around for a while?
The Binion sisters had seen every high roller since Napoleon come and go, and they made it clear that someone who rolled as low as I did might as well roll under the table and crawl for the exit. I had loser's disease, and they didn't want to catch it.
Well, thanks for your company, ladies, and good luck.
They were so sorry to see me go, they couldn't express their emotion. Outside in the night, there was a real world waiting. But the night wasn't real either. Large sections of downtown Vegas have been roofed over with a computer-driven light show that celebrates the city. A virtual display of a place that is a virtual display already. Reality at 2 removes. The spirit of the departed king of Las Vegas descended from the sky. Somewhere up there in hamburger heaven, Elvis Presley was looking down on what his charisma had helped to create. And somewhere up there beyond the lights, there were pale stars. It was way past my bedtime, and I would need all my strength next day to go on probing the essential mystery of this amazing city. If I was already $100 behind the game, why did I feel that was fun? How did Las Vegas work the trick? Somewhere in the middle of next day, 27 floors above the desert, I woke to the familiar noise of fake cannon and bad dialogue. The pirates were back in action, fighting and dying according to the script. Treasure Island's theme park concept includes even the forecourt captain.
Oh, where to, dear fella?
Cruising down the strip.
Oh, the strip, boy, you hold on, my friend. Bring 'em down.
He was Michael Jackson pretending to be Terry Thomas.
All right, come on, you land. Another today, sir. Hold 'em up.
I was almost sorry he wasn't coming with me.
Move 'em out.
I left him wondering what he had to do to get a tip. Maybe throw in a Robert De Niro impersonation. I'd take care of him after I'd won some money. For now, I was off to explore the most notorious vegan business after gambling, the instant wedding. If you get a sudden impulse to make a lifetime commitment, you can still get married faster in Las Vegas than anywhere else in the world. A Vegas wedding gives a microsecond to remember to the kind of people who have trouble remembering anything. The proprietress of the Little White Chapel, the priestess of the drive-in sacrament, the woman who has mastered the art of marrying people at the speed of light, is Charlotte Richards.
Do people come to be married on the spur of the moment?
Yes, in fact, there was one couple about 13 years ago that I married. They had just met 1 hour before they were married, and they had met on the plane coming over from Palm Springs, and they just seemed to have fallen in love there on that airplane coming to Las Vegas. And 13 years later, they came back and said, "Charlotte, do you remember me? I'm the couple that you married 13 years ago, and we just met for 1 hour." So,
Have you married any celebrity couples?
well, yes, Bruce Willis and Demi Moore. What a beautiful romantic wedding that was. And Bruce Willis had his little baggy pants on, and there was starlight in their eyes, and I cried, they cried. It was a beautiful moment, and what a beautiful couple they are.
I had more to ask, but there was a traffic jam of impatient betrothed couples building up behind me. For most of them, Charlotte's would be the last smiling face they would ever see until they divorced each other. But if by some miracle the wheels don't come off your drive-in marriage, you can get your eternal alliance reconfirmed by no less a divine authority than Elvis Presley in his late cheeseburger phase.
My soul gonna set my soul on fire. Got a lot of money and it's ready to burn. Let's get the stakes up high. It'll let down pretty women who ain't out there. And they got love for the devil may care. Now there's the devil with love to spare. Viva Las Vegas, Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Viva, viva Las Vegas. Where else belong?
Oh, very nice.
Now, hold her hands, gazing passionately. For now, a new promise, never forgetting the old, but adding, I, Dan,
I, Dan,
take you, Rachel,
take you, Rachel,
for I want you,
for I want you,
for I need you,
and I need you,
because I love you, baby,
because I love you, baby,
and I'll always love you tender,
and I'll always love you tender,
and I promise
and I promise
never to leave you at Heartbreak Hotel.
to never leave you at Heartbreak Hotel.
And I also promise, Mama,
And I also promise, Mama,
never to treat you moody blue,
never to treat you moody blue,
or have suspicious minds.
or have suspicious minds.
I, Rachel,
I, Rachel,
take thee, Dan,
like thee Dan,
as my hunka burning love,
as my hunka burning love,
and promise to always love you tender,
and I promise to always love you tender,
and never return you to sender.
and never return you sender.
For I'll never step on your blue suede shoes,
I'll never step on your blue suede shoes,
for you'll always be
for you'll always be
my loving teddy bear.
my loving teddy bear.
Thank you very much. But let's put our hands together, folks, for 10 years for Dan and Rachel, as they seal this moment once again with that hunka burning love kiss.
I was moved. I was moved to leave, wondering whether civilization is coming to an end. Perhaps it is, and Las Vegas will replace it. The suburbs are heading for the mountains as retired people from all over America come to put down their last roots in a tax oasis. The visitors who come to the center of town to throw away their dough are increasingly surrounded by solid citizens who hold onto it like grim death. But no citizen can be more solid than a professional poker player who makes millions. Poker is the one game I've always wanted to play. I could see myself sitting there, keen brain calculating the odds, ruffled by nothing except the desert wind, rather like world champion poker player Russ Hamilton. What makes a good poker player?
Well, a good poker player has to, of course, he has to know the game, but he's got to have some heart. He has to gamble a little. He has to know when he's got the best of it, and he has to make a winning hand pay and a losing hand win a lot of times.
What's the most you've ever bet?
Most I've ever bet on one hand was in the World Series of Poker in '94 when I won it. We played a pot that was $1.98 million, and half of that money was mine and half was the other gentleman's.
Were you bluffing?
Not that hand. I flopped top set 3 queens. I had 2 pocket queens and flopped a queen. That hand I wasn't bluffing. He was bluffing. He moved in after I made a bet on him.
So what do you look for to tell if they're bluffing?
Oh, they do a lot of different things. You know, you'll see hand movements, eye movements, the way they put chips into the pot, the way they move in their seat. They'll make a bet and they'll look away from the table, or, you know, you'll pick up tells on them through the game.
So what's the most you've ever lost on a hand?
Well, you know, in different times I've lost quite a bit. The most I've ever lost in a setting, though, is about $50,000.
And did you have the discipline to walk away after
Oh,
that?
yeah. I set a limit.
Russ's casual mention of a $50,000 loss should have scared me off. But when he said there was a big poker game coming up and I could buy in for a lousy $1,000, I smelled baby powder all over again. And after all, look where gambling had got him. Night fell again on the city of casinos with rooms attached. A hotel without a casino is taking a dangerous bet. Someone who staked everything she had on owning just such an establishment is the darling of the 50s musicals, Debbie Reynolds.
I walk down the lane with a happy refrain. I'm singing and dancing in the rain. Can you believe we did that 45 years ago and I'm still alive? I can hear you whisper when I first come out here. How old is she anyway? Well, I always said that right up front. I'm 64. I don't want you to be nervous about her. So now you won't have to worry about the whole rest of the show. Hello, folks. How are you?
Debbie worked the room like a navvy.
Booth, isn't it? How do you do? I'm Debbie. Hi, sir. How you doing? He just stared at me like, who is this nut? Why is she out here? I paid money for her to stay on the stage. Why is she coming out here staring at me?
Changing gowns to sing her biggest hit, she was putting her heart into a city that hasn't got one. But her fans loved it.
Whispering above, Tammy, Tammy, Tammy's in love. The old hooty owl, hooty hoos to the dove.
The only question was, how many other people are left to care that Tammy's owl ever hooty-hooed to the dove?
Good night, everybody. You were a wonderful audience. I love you.
Debbie's fans had got what they came for. But one fan wanted more. In her Hollywood museum, I repressed the urge to say hooty-hoo and instead asked her if she lived in Las Vegas.
Yes, I've lived here 25 years in Vegas. I have an apartment not far from here. I don't live in the hotel because otherwise I'd be cleaning my whole life, looking after everybody.
Did you ever come into contact with the mob?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there was what is called, I guess that's the term in those days, the mob. But the gentlemen that were investing in Vegas in those days, they love show business, they love singing, they love entertainment, and they're great bosses. They really were. Today, you work for big conglomerates and banks and people that don't get to know you as closely as those fellows did.
Do you ever gamble?
I don't gamble.
But you bought this place. Now that was a gamble.
Well, I gamble in life. I don't feel that I should stay sitting in a dark room. You know, I really, yes, do gamble in life. I'm 64. I bought this place with my pension money, and I wanted to stay here until it's time to go. You know, enjoy myself and sing and dance and have my own little place. So that's why I bought it.
But it must have been a big drain on your resources and on your nerves. Has it been worth it?
Well, anything is worth it if you like how it turns out. I happen to like the little place. I think it's classy. I think that the hotel is filled with antiques and memories. And as you walk through here, you kind of go down memory lane. A lot of free things to look at and just come and visit during the day. And I find people quite comfortable here.
Debbie was brave, but sadly a few days later, her beloved hotel was up for sale. Real nostalgia doesn't make it anymore. Fake nostalgia has too much clout. A new hotel like the Luxor might masquerade as a theme park, but behind the fun-for-all-the-family facade, it's an unsentimental machine for collecting more wealth than all the pharaohs put together ever dreamed of. The cash flow goes into it like the Nile. The Las Vegas of today was making me feel as obsolete as atomic bombs. Out in the desert, not all that far away, hundreds of them were once tested in the open air, so that visitors to Las Vegas could watch the flash, feel the shock, and think it was part of the floor show.
Okay with this pass?
The test site is still out there, still guarded, but if you break in and stay too long, you'll find nothing to take away except a dose of radiation. In more recent times, the bombs have gone off underground, but when they went off above it, they made a thump that used to arrive in Vegas 7 minutes after the flash and suck out the windows. The Vegans learned to leave a door open and live with the bomb, while out here special structures were put up to see what would happen when they were blown down. The scorched earth still makes the Geiger counter crackle. It turned out that domed aluminium bomb shelter lids were not a good idea. If the Russians had dropped even one little A-bomb on downtown Vegas, Binion's and the Golden Nugget would have looked like this. But the Vegans were betting it would never happen, and they were right. This was ground zero, a stretch of nothing reduced to less than nothing. But I wouldn't bet on it staying that way. Eventually, Las Vegas will stretch all the way to here. There'll be hotels a mile high, and high rollers from beyond the galaxy will be checking in. Perhaps they already are. Flying saucer buffs are convinced that the Las Vegas area is the #1 destination for aliens visiting Earth. It's certainly the #1 destination for people who believe they do. The UFO fans communicate with each other in a special language and leave strange artifacts that puzzle Earthlings. But not all the UFO fans wear beanies with a green hand sticking up.
It's a nice desert you got here.
No, it's beautiful.
I met one out there, a fan, not an alien, who seems perfectly normal but sees UFOs all the time. Kathleen Ford.
What do the UFOs look like?
Well, they look like golden orange balls that come up over the mountain. They drop a mile in a second, do figure eights, stepping stone up, go from here to there in a heartbeat. The most spectacular object I saw was over here towards the east. It was a cigar-shaped object. It was black in the middle. It had 6 orange spots inside it, windows, if you will. It had an electrical halo around it, and a little red ball following it. And as it was coming over, it got about a quarter mile away. We were backing up from it, and all of a sudden it went out, and then there was just stars.
How big was that one?
About as big as a 747. It was enormous.
You get a picture?
No, didn't get a picture of that one. I've gotten pictures of other ones, and in about 93 I found out that if I flashed around randomly in the dark, invisible images would show up on my film, even though I visually didn't see them.
She just happened to have the evidence with her.
Okay, where are the spacecraft?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
One.
Yeah.
You see the 35-mile-an-hour sign that's right over there?
Uh-huh.
The alien craft seemed to be well equipped with cloaking devices that could turn them into out-of-focus blurs and blobs whenever a human camera was aimed in their direction. But they would, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Sort of blue flare, huh? Spielberg sort of effect.
Spielberg, huh? 110 camera. That's just right away, so you can say it's not the moon.
She had me convinced. She had me convinced she was seeing things.
Have aliens ever been seen in Las Vegas?
Yes, I know a man that was the eye in the sky in one of the local casinos. And as he was viewing the casino, on one of the blackjack tables, there was 3 strange bald-headed men with big bald heads and little tiny eyes. And he turned the camera on them and started videotaping them. And as soon as he turned the camera on them, all 3 of them looked up into the camera at the same time, which no one can tell when the camera's on you. And he freaked, so he started flipping knobs, and when he looked back down, they were gone. He ran down to the table. The dealer said that she'd been alone for 20 minutes, that there was nobody on the table.
It bothered me a bit that Kathleen's description of a blackjack player from outer space fitted me so exactly. But she had a lot more to tell me about. She talked on into the sunset. The desert twilight was too beautiful to miss, and Kathleen assured me that it would be a good night for UFOs. So I stayed on, impressed by the sincerity of her belief in the laws of chance. She was betting that some night soon she would meet a flying saucer captain who would say cheese. Back in town, there were thousands of people ready to bet on something far less likely, that they would keep their money in a city which had devoted its entire know-how to making absolutely certain that they wouldn't. And tomorrow, I would be one of them. It was another day, and the pirates at Treasure Island fought on. I wondered how Las Vegas stops the real pirates, the cheats and the thieves. Along the humidified sidewalk, I went off to see someone who knew. Every hotel protects the take of its casino with a security system continually updated to spot every scam. The man in charge at Bally's is George Joseph. He showed me the mission control-sized eye-in-the-sky room, where the output of hundreds of cameras and permanently spooling VCR machines is invigilated for rip-offs 24 hours a day by experts alert to every trick a cheat might pull. But the expert who taught the experts is George himself. He started out as a card sharp, and he knows what they can do because he knows how to do it.
What do you do when you spot someone cheating?
We pretty much beat them up and throw them in the... No, I'm just joking. That's the old days. We used to dig a hole in the desert and then have them cremated and then call their mother. No, we don't do that anymore. Basically, by law now, we have the right to hold a person on, if we suspect that they've cheated or stolen from the casino. We don't have the right to drop them down a flight of stairs any longer, but we do hold them until the police show.
What are some of the most common scams? Do you still get the card sharps, the mechanics?
Let me show you some of the things that happened in the old days in Nevada. Take a look at the deck and you'll see that the cards are in brand new deck order still. Ace to king, king to ace. So they're all in order. And one of the common techniques that you would use, not with a brand new shuffle deck, but is to do what's called a false shuffle. So it looks to you, or should look to you, like I'm shuffling these cards, when in fact nothing has moved and the cards are still in order.
Wow.
It's called the false shuffle. Evidence of a misspent youth. Right? There's also what's called a second deal. For instance, it's commonly known as not dealing off the top of the deck, right? Watch the ace on the top, and if I don't want to deal the ace from the top of the deck, I just don't deal off the top, and the ace stays right there. Now watch carefully because it's easier to see it when it's face up. Obviously you wouldn't do it face up, but to demonstrate it, we'll leave the card face up, and you see the ace never comes off the top, or the card never comes off the top. If I want to hit your hand, I hit your hand, so I don't deal from the top of the deck, right? It never comes off the top unless I want it to come off the top. Never comes off the top unless I want it to come off the top. Never comes off the top.
How long did it take you to perfect that?
Any 6-year-old child with 30 years practice can do this. Okay? There's also what's called hand mucking.
Hand mucking?
Hand mucking. I wrote a whole book on hand mucking, and you'll see the pair of threes, right? Which is not a very good hand in the game, but if I just do that, I switch the cards to a blackjack, right? Watch again. So I switch the cards to a blackjack.
Who makes your shirts? That way they go.
Top flight cheats know everything about the game. It's a daunting thought when you consider how much you have to know about a game like craps before you can even play it honestly.
Most people that roll the dice believe they're going to have a good roll when they roll them, and most people will bet on a pass line because a pass line is a bet on the shooter's roll. A $100 bet could bet as little as 5 or as much as 200. Now, for the don't pass better, the opposite is true. You are betting against the 8. I've already said the odds favor the don't pass by 6 to 5. So if you're on the don't, you have to what they call lay the odds. 12 to win 10 or 6 for every 5 you put down. If 11's the next roll, whether your money was sitting on 11 or sitting right here, the field bet wins.
Poker had to be simpler than that. Molecular biology is simpler than that.
The odds are the best bet.
The big poker game was definitely on, and the star players had arrived in their own transport. This was the world-girdling Winnebago of Puggy Pearson, alias the Ayatollah, his white hat and beard feared across 4 continents.
So already I've got $25 at risk.
Russ Hamilton had $200,000 on his person and another $100,000 nearby in his wife's purse. But he told me that if I bought into the game with a mere $1,000, he would make sure that I left town with at least something. I knew I could trust him. I knew a thing or two about Vegas by
You can
now.
fold that, or you can call a quarter or raise to 100.
But Puggy Pearson knew a thing or three. He had a brain like an IBM mainframe under his hat. All of these guys knew so much about poker, they could be beaten only by each other. I had no idea of what I was doing. The rules of thumb were a jumble in my head. Never draw to an inside straight. Don't raise on a low flush. Go for broke on a high flush. Flush the pot. Head for the hills.
No, wait a sec. This is crazy.
No, it's not crazy.
The only thing for sure was that I was a born master of bluff, because I was bluffing just by being there. I needed help even when my cards were good.
It's up to you. Check or bet.
It's time to get out.
Oh, no, you've got a good hand.
Yeah?
That's a good hand you've got.
So I...
200, check or bet. You can bet it or you can check, either one to it.
I think I'll check.
Okay, he checks.
What do you got? Now you're telling him about.
He's read him and weep. Right.
Jackson
Read him and weep.
Sorry, fellas.
Read him and weep.
I told you you're going to win.
How you like this game so far?
I love it.
Dumb luck had made me a small fortune. But wait a second. I could smell baby powder. Maybe I had a knack for this caper after all. And maybe there was no maybe about it. Suddenly I was certain that I'd been born to play this game. On my next hand, Russ hardly needed to help me. He only had to explain that the brightly colored cards I was holding face down were all queens. The rest of it was pure inspiration on my part.
I think I'll buy.
I upped the ante until the pot was the size of a cauldron and only Puggy was left in. It was crazy, but somehow I just knew he was bluffing. That Burl Ives bonhomie of his was strictly for the birds. I could see fear in his eyes.
Do you know what he's saying? Do you want it?
Go to the telephone.
I'm gonna raise it.
I think the telephone.
Wait a minute.
I'll raise it.
Yeah, I told him to raise it. How much you got?
Enough.
He says you can go in your pocket, but I wouldn't do it.
You can go in your pocket.
There's nothing in my pocket. I went in my pocket to get there.
Let's call. Put 400.
I got a second mortgage in my house to get to the table.
See if you got 400. Okay, let's see.
Put in the rest.
400. The rest of it.
Put in the rest.
Yeah, we're gonna raise him back the last race we got.
Can I
We got 175 more, Bug. He's all he's got. Ask him what he's got. Just ask him.
What do you got? I have a higher two pair. I got something.
Suddenly, Las Vegas was paradise. Even these poor losers seemed to be enjoying it. They still had more in their pockets, but everything they'd put on the table was now mine. Why were they taking it so well? They were taking it so well because they thought they knew what would happen next if I didn't go home immediately.
I was thinking the same damn thing.
But I was confident by now. I kept on betting big. I was on a roll. One more monumental win, and I'd be leaving Vegas with enough mazuma to come back again next month, check into one of those $15 million suites, and clean out the whole city.
Let's turn him, Joe. Let's go.
Read them and weep, gentlemen.
Jack's full.
That's a good hand. Hold everything. That's a very good hand. But hold it.
King's full.
Well, Russ had told me that I would leave the game with at least something.
I thought that was unbeatable.
And this was what it was, an education. I had found out what it feels like to lose everything. It feels like you've lost everything.
Well, we'll be here tomorrow night again.
You're saying I have to go now.
Okay, let's go.
I
Shuffle
won't
up
shake
the
hands with
bill.
the rest of my hands are too wet.
Seat open.
From behind me, I could hear them saying something about one being born every minute. On my way back to Treasure Island, I passed the Mirage's volcano in full eruption and fought hard to find reasons for not throwing myself in.
Lads, swim back to the net. Be well clear.
If a pirate wants to keep his doubloons, he should put them in the bank. This was the last pirate show I had time to catch. I'd be gone in the morning, so I would never see the pirates fight again.
Pass this on to His Royal Highness.
If I ever returned, the same actors would probably be Starship Troopers fighting outside Alien Base Alpha, a hotel with free-fall elevators and slot machines in the airlocks. Yet I couldn't quell the fear that when I got back to London, I would be woken once again by cries of "Avast there, me hearties," and lashed down the forelock. And there they would be, outside my window in the rain. Already threatened for supremacy by even bigger hotels planned for the near future, New York, New York was ready to see me off home by opening its doors for the first time. The celebrities arrived. Their stretch limos stretched from the hotel they were staying at to this one, and all they had to do was walk through the car. When they stepped out, I couldn't believe my eyes. I didn't recognize a single one of them. I knew I ought to, but with a new hotel opening all the time, even America's reservoir of fame can run dry. I was fairly sure this was Wayne Newton, if it wasn't Isaac Newton or John Wayne.
Have you seen this place already?
Finally, I experienced the shock of recognition. It was David Hasselhoff from Baywatch. On the small screen, he looks tall, but in real life, he looks colossal Hoff.
You see that sign out there? I personally built that sign with the money that I lost here. Let's go.
The lobby is meant to remind you of Manhattan, and it would if the streets of Manhattan were full of slot machines. New York, New York, surprise, surprise, was another casino. But in Vegas for a long time now, there have been no surprises that someone didn't plan. The official gambling would start at midnight and continue without stopping until the hotel was pulled down, and every cent that came in would be accounted for. The mob had less chance of getting their hands on it than the Martians. Chance was over. Certainty had triumphed. Finally, at the 11th hour, I met a gambling man as brave as Debbie Reynolds. One of the world's wittiest men is taking a real risk in New York, New York. He's betting that the clients will want the cigars in his cigar emporium. If they don't, he might lose his investment. That put him on my side. We were two against the house, me and George Hamilton.
So I suppose you knew Vegas when it was a lot smaller than this, huh?
Well, you know, this is a whole new life for me. I've never done anything like this. I lead a very quiet life, as you know. I'm just sort of like a farmer. And to be able to come to a town like this and to be able to stay up late and be able to buy a cigar and have a drink and talk to people like...
It's a whole new thing for you. What about
Isn't this amazing? Isn't this amazing? When you think about it, I came to Vegas when I was, I think, 18, 19 years old, not able to gamble, came into this town, and it was a sleepy little town, and the first guy I saw was Dean Martin dealing at a blackjack table, and I thought, there's some style, there's some glamour here. And through a lot of years, I saw a lot of stuff, but now I thought, they call it a family town.
It's business, really, isn't it?
Well, it's business, but to me, one of the big mistakes is to try to make it business. I come in with the theory that I'm a customer. And if I can't get a drink or something goes wrong, then I can see another guy's going to have the same problem. And I don't think of it as business. I mean, we're going to make just a few $1 million on it, you know, but I guess you call it business. But it's the lifestyle that counts. I lie.
What kind of city is it for the ordinary citizen?
It's a form of Disneyland that everybody wants from childhood, you know. And Vegas has all of that and more. And people can come here for 4 or 5 days and escape their troubles. The thing about it, America is becoming more and more like Las Vegas. We're building one hotel after another. They don't want to go back home. The little sleepy towns that we used to think were so secure in America, big crime. Here, you come here, and the only real crime is if you lose at the table. They don't mug you.
Whatever happened to the criminals?
They're here. We got a few working for us, just a few. You'll meet them.
You gamble yourself?
Oh, sure. Sure, I loved it. I went broke when I was 21 years old here and lost $30. I was totally broke. I had to take the bus to L.A. But it had a great style. You know, I had Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and all those guys were here, and that's what I see when I think of Vegas. I don't see it as a family town. I mean, I don't mean that in a discouraging way. I see Disneyland that way, and I know they built it this way, but I gotta say, adults become children here. That's the family I see.
And one child was ready to go home, even though the party wasn't over. New York, New York was open for business. I had an idea for a hotel called Moscow, Moscow, with a Lubyanka lobby and a Kremlin craps parlor, but it would never catch on. Communism lost, not just because America built bigger bombs, but because people won't stop believing in freedom, even when freedom leads to this. Las Vegas, the capital of capitalism, isn't really a monument to greed at all. It's a monument to the opposite. A living, constantly redoubling reminder that money really is just money, because if you've got enough of it, you'll throw it away. Las Vegas is counting on it. It's a sure thing.
Clive James is back in London for his show this weekend on Saturday night at 10 o'clock. Renegade is coming up next.